Digression.
No. I'm not having that.
I mean, is it food we're talking about?
Definitely.
It's very juicy.
Come on.
But I'm just stating facts.
What were we talking about?
Hey guys, salut, I'm Alex and I make food videos on YouTube.
Hi, I'm Josh and I edit food videos for Alex on YouTube.
Good morning, Joshua.
Good morning. How are you doing, Alex?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm very good. A little sleepy, but I'm getting there. Coming round. Had my coffee, so you know I'm all good.
Together with Joshua, when we work on videos, we talk a lot about food and beverage. Spoiler alert, we don't always agree, yet we always digress.
Absolutely.
We digress. We keep on digressing.
More than we stick to the point, I think, a lot of the time. Which
I think if we were to stop digressing, maybe the edit would go faster.
we could get a lot more done, I'm sure, but it might not be as much fun.
What was the latest digression?
Something that's very close to my heart that I wanted to speak about, the Sunday roast.
The Sunday roast?
The
what do you
Sunday
mean,
roast.
The Sunday roast?
The Sunday roast, the quintessential British meal, the thing that everybody in this country has been raised on, looking forward to every Sunday to having a Sunday roast. And I feel like for something that is so important to so many British people, most people outside of this country have never heard of it, or if they have heard of it, they've never had one.
Yeah, so that's you just basically told me about my life. I know about it. I've been working with Jamie Oliver in the past, so I've seen countless Sunday roasts on Instagram, especially with the Yorkshire pudding.
Yorkshire
right?
pudding.
Yorkshire pudding, the all the stuff on the table, but I never had one. Can you describe what's happening? Because you said that's the thing you wait for on Sunday morning.
No, well, not in the morning. It's usually a sort of late afternoon thing. It's the main event of a Sunday most of the time.
Okay. Oh, wow.
That either you go round to, you get a group of you together, you go round to a friend's house or a family. It's a big, spread meal that you have in the middle of the table. Or you go out to the pub and all have a Sunday roast and, a few pints.
Okay. So can you describe what's on the table? Then we'll get specifics.
Okay, so the main event for a Sunday roast is usually some sort of protein. Now, it could be roast lamb shoulder, it could be roast beef, it could be a roast chicken, and increasingly there could be a vegetarian, either like a mushroom Wellington or a nut roast if you were vegan. That's one of the good things about Sunday roast, by the way. It seems to transcend the fact of whether it's meaty or vegan.
Yeah.
Because it's so important, I think people have gone, okay, I'm vegan, but I don't want to stop having Sunday roast.
That's
so
amazing.
they've found a way around
amazing.
it. So there's always a main event in the middle, and that's, like I said, traditionally, I guess, roast beef or roast lamb, depending on which bit of the country you're from. But it can also be roast chicken and other things. And then with that, you would always have roast potatoes, Yorkshire pudding. Do I need to describe what Yorkshire pudding is?
I feel so, yes.
Okay, so I think in America it's what they would call a popover. It's made with pancake batter essentially, and then in the oven you have the oven is absolutely ripping hot, and you place a sort of tray with oil in it, and you pour the pancake batter.
It's a very safe process. I've seen that. I've done that in the past.
It's terrifying making Yorkshire puddings, and then it puffs up into this kind of light, fluffy, crispy
crown.
on the edges crown. Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
It's beautiful, and I know that there's huge pride in making good Yorkshire pudding
because it's so
in
difficult to get it right. It's so difficult to do them well.
Shut up.
No, honestly, it is, and it's all about temperature control, timings, lots of different things. But most people, I know very few people who can make a good Yorkshire pudding, and everybody has their own secret to it. What it is that you have to do to get it just right.
I'm very interested in this.
So let's continue back to the thing. So some sort of protein in the middle, usually a meaty thing. Roast potatoes, Yorkshire pudding, and then a whole plethora of different veg. Now, it could be roast parsnips, could be roast carrots, boiled carrots. You might have some sort of greens, like a sort of spring green, could be broccoli. Cauliflower cheese is a very popular thing to have on a Sunday roast.
Okay.
So that's kind of like a baked cauliflower dish that has a sort of cheesy bechamel that is poured over the top of the cauliflower and then baked. What else might you have veg-wise? Peas, runner beans.
But there's one main event on the table. There's one main thing, and that's the protein, right?
Yes.
Most of the time. And you said, okay, so...
There's one other thing,
not,
there's one other thing that I must mention that is almost, in a way, the most important thing, and it's what binds everything together.
The gravy.
The gravy.
Sorry, I busted out.
Yeah, if it's not good gravy, it's not a Sunday roast.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. What about the beverage?
It doesn't really matter.
Okay.
You could, I think, if you were going to have a Sunday roast at the pub, most people would have a pint of their choice, whether that be cider or beer or stout.
One more.
But at home, whatever you like, really. There's no rule to it in terms of beverage.
All right. So I can see that, and it's always like, I mean, maybe not always, but most of the time it's supposed to gather people together.
That is the main point.
Bring people together.
Yeah, you would never ever make a roast for yourself. It's just not. You just wouldn't do it.
That would, like, if I were to make a perfect, if I were to make a perfect Sunday roast for myself. It wouldn't be a Sunday roast.
No, it's not the sort of thing that you go, well, I'll make a lot of it and then I'll take some into work as like extras. It's not about that. It's about getting together and having a roast. Even to the point that a lot of the times, the best Sunday roast is always one that is cooked in someone's house. You can go out for a Sunday roast, but it's never as good as one that is cooked with love at home.
I understand that.
But
yes,
sometimes it's more about the getting together at the pub or being out and about somewhere and less about the quality of the food.
And to be fair, so I've been quite a few times in the UK, and pubs have a very homey feeling anyway.
All of it. The food is always, it's quite...
It feels like being at home, the carpets, the couches, the vibe, basically the lighting as well, the ambience, the friendly... Most of the time, I mean, in all the pubs that I've been to, the friendly atmosphere.
Yeah, I think the pubs...
Feels like home.
Yeah, it's more about comfort than it is about, showing off or being dressed up or being,
fancy.
People aren't dressed
French,
to impress if they
maybe?
go to the pub.
Okay. So I get that it's highly connected to the home feeling, basically. And something that just raised my curiosity, that just triggered my curiosity, is that you said it's not about the protein. It's not about the type of protein. You said you can have lamb, you can have chicken, you can have beef. That's very odd, because I always thought that the Sunday roast was about beef.
And I think this is a common misconception, because I think most people, le roast beef, that's what everyone thinks about the British.
For sure.
Right? Yeah?
I wasn't about to bring it out, but yeah.
And it is perhaps the most traditional, but I think the fact that it's such a communal meal, it's become something that I think most places that are going to do a Sunday roast, they want to make sure that everybody can join in on that, regardless of their food preferences. Because actually, I suppose in a way, even if you took the protein away, it's a big plate of like lots of different types of veg. There's it's a big variety of different veg on there. So you could eat it just like that, but it's good to have a main event in the middle of the table. I suppose you could think about it like, the sort of Thanksgiving dinner. It's very similar to that, only maybe less extravagant. There are less sweet things in it.
Yes, and I feel like it's less... It's less of a celebration, maybe, no? It's more like something... It's something that maybe gives a bit of rhythm to your week.
Absolutely.
It's something that you expect.
Yeah, it's something you look forward to as well. I think it's sort of it's less of a celebration than Thanksgiving, but it is still a celebration. It's a good thing to get together and have a roast. Yeah.
So that's something. In France, I don't know if there's something equivalent. I don't know if we've got something that exactly match what you described.
I think
I would go to my grandma for Sunday lunch most of the time, and we would have anything like roasted chicken, maybe roast beef as well, and there would be gravy on the table. I'm telling you as well. It's not the type of creamy gravy, but that would be more like a runny, concentrated beef juice, something around those lines.
What made you say creamy? That's interesting. Why did you say creamy?
Because for me, gravy always is about something thick. Something
so you're talking about the consistency when you say
the
that,
consistency,
okay.
Exactly. Where, for example, on the table for Sunday lunch with my family, the sauce depends on the dish. But I'm guessing gravy is just another way for you to say sauce, right? Ooh, another subject maybe for another podcast.
No, gravy isn't a way to say. No, it's not. It means it is a sauce, but it is a sauce that has been made from whatever meat you are cooking, the juices and the fat from that meat that has usually is flavored with onions and some sort of herbs. Traditionally, it'd be sort of rosemary or thyme. But the key thing, I suppose, is that it's thickened with flour.
Yeah. So that's the thing. That was I was referring to. So one thing about the Sunday roast, as I mentioned earlier, my only experience with it is virtual. I had it through Instagram pictures and through posts on Jamie Oliver's website. So what happened? So I worked with this guy for 3 years, and this guy has a massive food team behind him.
Yeah.
A bunch of very, very talented ladies, young, old, whatever, but they are just so talented in the cooking world. They are very skillful cooks. And so since I basically became friend with these guys, and so we started following each other on Instagram, and I started seeing what their week were about. Not in a bad way. I wasn't creeping. It was just,
Yeah, I know what you
friends.
mean. Yeah, you get.
Exactly. And so I started seeing on Sunday bunch of pictures popping on my feed on Instagram. And I would see trays and tables full of dishes, and always these, beautiful yet a bit daunting Yorkshire puddings. It's like a competition to whom is going to make the biggest one. And I started seeing these, and I started thinking, well, that is becoming somehow a dream of mine, or at least something on my bucket list, to get invited to a home for Sunday lunch. I would love to do that.
I think that's the only way to experience it fully. Well, if you're ever in the north of England, you can come to my parents' house on a Sunday, and we'll have a Sunday roast.
Man, I'd love to.
Yeah.
I'd love to, because I feel like, exactly as you mentioned earlier on, but I think that is something that is properly conveyed by this dish. It seems like a home dish. It needs to be experienced in a home with a bunch of people you're comfortable with, welcoming, warm. These are the vibes that are carried around by this dish. And a friend of mine, are you familiar with Hasty's Kitchen?
I don't think so, no.
A guy, he's a YouTube creator. He makes tons of different fresh, modern, also homey recipes. He puts up a Sunday roast like nobody else, on picture at least.
Okay.
Like his Sunday roast game is like spot on, and I would love to get invited. Now I'm guessing it also needs to be like a fun, a fun meal, maybe like something. I'm guessing how would I put this? I'm guessing the personality of the host also has an impact on the Sunday roast. At Mom's, for example, it must be the best.
Yeah, of course. I think everyone growing up it definitely has that vibe to it, where everybody is like, my mum's Sunday roast is the best, or my grandma's Sunday roast is the best. Well, is that still true? Even if not that, there is definitely an element. There are very few people that would say the best roast I've ever had is at a pub. Like it's not as common.
Okay, so yeah.
And there are, so for example, there's a place in Leeds, in Yorkshire, where I'm based, that the Guardian, I think, said was the best Sunday roast in the country. And I've thought about going before, but it's really expensive.
How much is it?
It's about £30 a head, which is kind of unheard of for a Sunday roast. And I'm sure that it's extravagant and amazing. And at some point, I'll probably go, but
fancy.
There is also a thing of like, I don't know how much I want to get dressed up and go for a fancy meal when it's a roast, because it should have that pub. Even if it's not at someone's house, it should still have that sort of comfy, friendly, relaxed feeling to it. Do you know what I mean?
Now I'm seeing that table in front of me. I'm seeing the lights. I'm seeing the steaming roast in the center. I'm seeing all these faces, and I don't know why, but I feel like I need to be hangover to be at that table.
I mean, I would be lying if I said that wasn't a part of it. There is definitely an element of, at the end of a weekend of heavy drinking, there's nothing better than having a Sunday roast, filling yourself with delicious food, and then just sort of, lounging around after that.
Something to soothe your damaged soul on a Sunday.
Yeah.
On a cold Sunday morning.
I think so. But I would say that, the other thing that I wonder about is, okay, let me ask you another question. Were you aware of the fry-up as an English breakfast?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
I had many.
Okay. See, this is what I don't get, because to me, I mean, a fry-up, it has its place. I can see the appeal of it, but it's not a Sunday roast. Like, Sunday roast to me is so many leagues above a fry-up.
Wow. You mean in the UK league? In the iconic UK dishes?
I think so. It's also more like, and I think it's the reason that we have vegan variations of it, because it is more, people hold it dear more than they do a fry-up. But also, this is the thing, you've heard of an English breakfast and you'd had one, but you haven't with a Sunday roast. So I wonder why it's not something that's been exported in the same way that fish and chips or...
Well, there's a reason for this. In hotels, in places in London, you can easily find a fry-up. In many places, you can find a fry-up. It's not that easy to find a Sunday roast. Because to be in London on a Sunday, on a Sunday noon, basically for Sunday noon. First of all, you need to be in the UK on a Sunday to have that type of meal. Where the other one can basically be had like every morning.
It definitely shouldn't.
Yeah, it definitely shouldn't.
I mean, once a month is enough, I think.
Yeah, I've always been struggling with this one. But I also felt like I had it because I've seen it, but it doesn't feel like a gimmick, because I've been reading a few stuff about this, and it has some it has plenty legitimacy. But then the Sunday roast feel very much and much more, I would say, authentic, genuine to me.
Do you know the only thing that I can
might be wrong, but
think of? Yeah, no, it is. I think it is more genuine than the fry-up. I think way more people would have Sunday roast than would regularly eat an English breakfast. That might not have been the case.
Good for them.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing: a Sunday roast can be super unhealthy, but you can also it's got so many vegetables with the meat that you can almost make it healthy. If it weren't for the fact that the roast potatoes and things, like the best ones are sort of roasting goose fat or that sort of thing, you can make it super extravagant, but you can also make a kind of lighter version, like rather than having so many roast veg, you could have more steamed veg or that sort of thing.
Yeah, but I can sense something that is way better for human beings in the Sunday roast than in the fry-up. I had plenty fry-up on my own. And yet you told me I wouldn't have a Sunday roast on my own. So I think for us as humanity, we should go for the Sunday roast. I'm not saying discard the fry up, do whatever you want with the fry up, but just that's a goal. And to be honest, if the Sunday roast is a family reunion, for Sunday lunch, then I had plenty, and I'm sure all over the world people have these as well.
Well, this is the thing. I was thinking the most similar thing I can think of that I'm aware of would be ragu to Neapolitans, as in the kind of quintessential Sunday meal that they all get together. It's heavily protein based, but the main thing is the sort of getting together and
I feel like in Italy they have Sunday roast every day for every meal. They basically I mean family and the table and the gathering is so important. I mean it is as well in France, and I've been reading interesting stuff about this, the way you behave when you're at the table with others, the quantities of food that you intake when you're surrounded or just by your family is not the same as the one you would have when you're on your own, eating in front of the TV, the vibe, it sure has an impact on your health to be, would you say, surrounded by your family? Because surrounded feels like the police is around. I'm surrounded.
Enclosed by. Yeah, no, exactly. You'd say surrounded. Surrounded's
Okay.
doesn't have to be that negative.
Okay. I love these meals. Like, I was always looking forward Sunday lunch at grandma's. And I'm feeling like, even though I never had a British Sunday roast, I had plenty Sunday roast.
You've had the experience. Yeah.
And
absolutely.
it feels like you go to this place, you see that face you like, and grandmas or mom, they're always so welcoming. There's always something you especially like. It's not exactly part of the meal, but she made it on the side just for you because she knows that you like this.
Yeah.
She she forgives you for putting that sauce on that dish because whatever.
Yeah,
it's just a matter of making you feel comfortable. And the lighting at my grandma's place always was a bit lower than usual.
Yeah.
So it feels like I'm not completely out of bed yet.
It's got that cozy sort of vibe to it. Yeah.
It's cozy and
it's interesting what you said there about how your grandma would make you a specific thing that she knows that you like, even though it might be a bit extra effort or whatever. That's I would say that's definitely a thing with Sunday roasting, that like if someone's coming and you know that they like cauliflower cheese, for example, is a, if you were gonna have a Sunday roast at a pub, you would always order it as an extra. It's not it doesn't have to be part of the meal.
Off menu.
Yes, it's an off menu item. So if someone makes you cauliflower cheese when you go to their Sunday roast, it means they love you. There's something in there that says that they're they're happy to see you.
That's probably the most common thing we can get out of this, broad Sunday roast analysis. It's really made out of love. It really is like just a way to say welcome, to say, come on in, join the conversation, relax. We are not foes. Yeah, that's amazing. I would love to have one right now. I would love to just...
I don't know about now. So, it might be a bit early, but yeah.
So that's one thing. I don't want to get too specific.
Okay.
I lost my grandma a few years ago.
Okay.
And I love this woman to bits. I love her so much. She was so right about food. And Sunday roast, I'm going to call them Sunday roast, at hers, were just like such a relaxed, comfortable experience, but such an obvious way of saying that she loved us. And it wasn't like in my face love. It was just like, no, you're free to have a sit. If you want to go and play as a kid, for example, I would always leave the table because I would find it just annoying. But then it's that, I don't know, it's not exclusive. It feels like it's not forced. It's just like pure love that is given, that doesn't need to go back. I don't know if that makes sense what I'm saying.
Unconditional, yeah.
Unconditional love. That's brilliant. This is something that I will forever associate with a Sunday lunch at my grandma's.
Yeah. I think that's a big part of
acceptance, a feeling of acceptance.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Maybe a thing of just creating an environment where people can just be who they are, and
that's amazing.
Yeah, for people to relax and genuinely not worry about what's happening the week before, what's happening in the next week, not to worry about any of that. Just to have a good time on a Sunday, have some delicious food, and in a friendly environment.
That's amazing, man. I'm glad you brought this subject, because I've got a cool example. Over this weekend, so I was chatting with a friend of mine. She comes from Brazil. And you know about the national dish there, the feijoada.
Yeah.
So it's a bean / rice / pork.
There's lots of different cuts of pork in there.
Yeah, exactly. It's quite a heavy dish.
Yeah.
It's not something that is like, no, it's hearty, it's fatty, it's salty. It's very good, but it's not the light dish. At the moment, right now, we're in March. I was looking at the calendar. It's summer there in Brazil.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, 'cause Southern Hemisphere. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's summer at the moment, so it's 30 plus degrees Celsius.
Wow.
I don't know how we translate in Fahrenheit, but it's very hot at the moment. And I told her, so you saw your family? She said yes. And I said, did you have fun with them? Yes. Did you had lunch with them? She said, of course. We made a Sunday roast. I mean, I'm translating.
Yeah.
She basically
Feijoada.
said something. Yeah, exactly. And she had a feijoada at 32 degrees Celsius, a big pile of steaming hot rice and beans and pork. That's funny because it doesn't matter. I mean, it does matter because probably the flavors are bringing the emotions as well, using memories as a conveyor belt. But I think she just answered, of course, I had to have like that big family reunion with the people that I love. And just food is a perfect excuse for that. Yeah, it's funny. It's not even related to one specific country.
No, I think that's a universal experience to do with food. And I suppose there's always, in a way, like I said, with the Sunday roast, it kind of doesn't matter what what the main protein is or what the kind of setup of the meal is. It is almost that the thing that is more important is the people around you and that feeling of like family and belonging. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, you mentioned something earlier on. I'm going to digress a bit from the love. I think we get the right.
We've got the vibes
with the love.
there.
Yeah. There's plenty love in this podcast. No, you said something, and that's just because I'm curious. What about the lamb? You said depending on which part in the country you would have lamb. Are you mentioning Wales?
Not necessarily. I'm going to assume that lamb is more common in Wales. But also, I think in the north of England it's more popular. For me, if someone said, if you had to construct a Sunday roast from your childhood memories, what would it consist of? For me, it would always have roast shoulder of lamb. Every time.
Wow.
And also mint sauce. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, mint sauce. Okay, the lamb, I can see that falling apart, beautifully melting almost piece of meat. Is that a thing? Do you call it the 7-hour shoulder of lamb?
We don't call it that, but...
Okay, it's the same vibe.
Slow cooked. Maybe not 7. 4 to 5. 4 to 5. I suppose it depends on how big the shoulder is, but yeah.
Now, I get the connection between mint and lamb. This is a flavor combination that I'm, okay with. I like it.
What do you mean? It's the only flavor combination for lamb.
Yeah, as a guy from the UK, I was expecting this, I guess. But I feel like the mint sauce is a bit more complicated.
Hang on a second.
Can you tell what's in the mint sauce?
Yeah, so... a mint sauce, it's not very complicated. It's usually just fresh chopped mint that's been put in some vinegar with a little bit of sugar and a little bit of salt. And that's kind of it. Mm-hmm. But
why sugar?
There's a big difference. Why sugar? Not a lot. It's not overly sweet. Just a small bit to kind of bring the flavours out a little bit. Okay. I would say this as well. If it's shop bought mint sauce, I'm not bothered. But if it's mint sauce that's been made from mint that has literally been picked from the garden that day, then absolutely. Minted lamb or lamb with mint sauce and peas, there are fewer things that are more divine than that flavour combination.
Yes, so I like the combination of mint and lamb. I can see how they respond to one another.
What is it you're struggling with then here?
You know what? I think you hit the nail on the head with one thing. You said, I wouldn't go for store-bought mint sauce.
No, because it's almost like a jelly.
Yes. So
and I don't like that
I had
too much.
in the past, I feel like. I had lamb probably in a pub in the UK, and they served me that mint sauce, and I was like, this is overly sweet, first of all.
Okay, so that's maybe the thing that you were struggling with when you said about the sugar. I guess the main reason that... So, like, for example, obviously, my mum's mint sauce is the best mint sauce.
Yeah.
But I think because she would add a little bit of sugar to take the edge off the vinegar, but the vinegar element of my mum's mint sauce is way bigger than what there would be from a shop bought one. Like sourness is actually a big part of that mint sauce because it cuts through the fattiness of the
and
lamb.
that makes sense, and that just excites my appetite when you're saying this, because sugar, along like mint and sugar, feels very much like a dessert to me.
Yeah.
It feels like I'm having an after eight, atop of a shoulder of lamb.
Yeah.
That feels disgusting.
I think it's all about the ratios here, and I think a little bit of sugar is necessary to sort of just to curb the edge off the bright vinegar element.
Yeah, maybe
slightly.
not to make it a dressing. You mean, not to turn it into a dressing.
Yeah, it shouldn't be as sour as a vinaigrette. It's not quite there, but
I just try to say dressing to feel more broad, and you're giving to my face vinaigrette. I would have used vinaigrette like a million times instead of the other one. Anyway, yeah. So I think people get the picture now of the Sunday roast, and I think it's not a uncommon thing finally abroad. Next time I'm in the UK, I'm definitely popping by your house.
Okay.
To have my Sunday roast, even if it's on Tuesday evening.
It doesn't have to be a Sunday, but it's whenever you've got the time.
That's definitely good, man. Thank you so much for this, man.
No worries, man.
Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.
Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.